So let me hear it. So you read books 2 and 3 of Red Rising, Golden Sun, and
I did. Golden
what's the
Sun
third
and
one
Morning
called?
Star.
Morning Star.
Morning Star. Still got it right here.
Now we've been
Gotta return it to the
texting
library
throughout.
tomorrow.
Is that the hardcover?
Oh, you bet it is, buddy.
You're a dirty dog.
That's how I read the whole thing. That's how
Oh,
I read
you dirty dog.
My library's got the first 4 books hardcover.
I have to send you the special edition of Red Rising, the first book that I bought. That's not going to get here until October. We might get a live reaction because I'll send it to you. So anyway, these books, I read them approximately 3.5 years ago.
I think I can do a good job of like filling in your brain appropriately.
We've talked about it a little bit where it has filled it in just enough that I'm very prepared to talk about it.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to do it. I want to do it book by book, how I felt throughout each. Like I don't want to skip to my favorite parts. So we're gonna take it Golden Sun first, and I'll talk about that, and then it'll bleed into my thoughts of how I thought the whole thing panned out.
Yes, sir.
Dude, Golden Sun. So when I started it, I just kept thinking of how and I had such a good time reading Red Rising. I thought the first one was so good, but I just kept thinking of the line of you just being like,
it is good.
That right there is a 10. And I'm just like, this guy, 10. This guy told me this book is a 10. So I'm going into this thing just like, I thought the last one was pretty damn good. How much better is this book going to be?
I do that sometimes where I build expectations really high. Right?
Yeah. That can be destructive, but I think in this case it just wasn't.
It met the expectations.
I'm gonna try to talk about it a little spoiler free for a minute before I get into
that's
like,
what
the
we're
plot
doing.
and
we're
such.
talking about spoiler free.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed just where everything went with the second book, not just story wise, but the way he wrote it. I love seeing the evolution of a writer. Like nothing got me more pumped about the Aragon series as to when I started reading Brissinger, and I was like, wow, this guy got a lot better over the a couple books. And you feel that just in the way Golden Sun is written. Oh my God, the characters really become just so deep in their own intricate little ways in that book. Darrow, he goes from being this angry, I called him Vegeta in the last episode. He is not Vegeta in the like you see this character develop of like his brain slowly becoming like, I'm not just a goddamn sneaky ninja, blow myself up for the cause, terrorist. I'm trying to change the world. And you see it in the way he speaks throughout the book. God damn. So just like on that level, the writing of like, and that's just one character. I'm just talking about Darrow in this instance, but there are multiple characters that have that kind of like care, and it's all through
an
Darrow's perspective,
right? And
which makes it interesting.
Of the character, right?
Yeah. So on that level, I love it. But then I also love just like the jump from, it becoming a fucking sci-fi. There's space battles going on. It's very different than the previous book on almost every level. There's similarities. The cooking of strategies is kind of the similarities, but the story altogether is just completely something different.
So that's what sticks out to me in my memory is the going from this little, most of the first book is this little view into the academy or whatever they call it. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, the
Institute, right. And by the second book, you're looking at this grand, big view of space and the solar system. And now Darrow's views in the first book, it's the same kind of scheming and plotting, but you go from it being in the Institute to this very grand, large scale it's so good and it works, right? Because you believe it and
does.
It's where the first book does well, that you believe that he has this ability because you see it in the Institute. Then it makes sense that he can do it.
You see it when he's young. So when it does the time jump, he's been at the academy now for 5 years. Like you believe that he's capable of doing these better things because he could
All
do it
right.
before when he was just, his body might have been different, but his brain was that of a slum person, like
Darrow of
uneducated, I'd imagine.
Lycos.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So seeing that, I love a good time jump, especially when it like recrafts the whole narrative. Another thing is this book just kept going places. I think what I really like about this guy is he just takes the story nowhere where I'd expect it. And every time I think it's going some way, even when he's telling me it's going one way, it somehow finds a way to be something else all the time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, at the beginning of this book, I guess we could start kind of getting into some spoiler stuff now. At the beginning of this book,
But
when
before we get into
he,
spoiler stuff, on book 2, can you just
okay,
tell me, I don't want an out of 10 score. I don't want an out of 10 score. Just tell me, did you love it? Like when you were reading it, were you, I guess I say this to you privately, maybe not on here, but when you're reading it, are you like locked in on reading it? That to me is the sign of a good book. Were you just
yeah,
locked in and obsessed with it?
I was pretty locked. I mean, I just read this whole trilogy in 3 weeks,
I
so I was
know,
pretty,
so
I was,
quickly.
I was pretty locked in. Yeah,
I know.
there'd be times because like I listen to the audiobook when I'm driving because I do drive a lot, so I'm like, why not? So there'd be
That's a good
some
time, yeah.
times where I'd kind of like, start thinking, how the human brain works, but I would always rewind. I'd be like, I didn't catch that. This story's too important. I gotta go back in here and make sure
Yeah.
that I got that.
Good.
Because it is
Okay.
written. I think we talked about how he's also makes it like just very. Because Wheel of Time and Sun Eater are both like books that you really got to pay attention while you're reading. He makes you get like the scale without giving you the depth.
Yeah, I
And I
think the
like that.
first 3 books especially are, and I'm not gonna say YA, they are extremely digestible. They're extremely digestible. It's not
Mm-hmm.
flowery prose.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Mm-hmm.
digestible, and you can see that in the fact that the books aren't long. If
Mm-mm.
I will say
No,
this,
they
and
cover
this
a
is
lot
it
of
is
ground in 3 books.
and this is an important thing for if I were going to recommend books to a friend who doesn't read, this is I have 2 books that I would recommend, and Red Rising into Golden Sun,
Yeah.
obviously. Or
Yeah.
those are the 2, like, it's this and Mistborn that I would recommend because they're so easy to read, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
really digestible.
Yes.
And
And the
part of
writers
that,
kind of make it that way.
of course he's doing that. I mean,
It,
that's a
it
good thing, right? It sells books. So
yeah.
God bless him for it. I think it's a very easy series to read, and it does cover a lot, though. That's not to take away from the series, right?
It covers a lot in 3 books. It covers a lot of ground in 3 books, but it's a believable. They're like I have a couple gripes, and I will get into them throughout.
I
I don't
have them
think
as well.
I don't think I have them really as much with Golden Sun though as I do with the last
Same with
book.
Morning Star.
Even though I still
But
really think
this
the
is
last
all to
book's really
say, before
fucking
we get
good.
into spoilers of book 2, that we both think is an excellent
Mm-hmm.
book and highly recommend.
Yeah, it is definitely the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy. In all the right ways. Yeah, I do want to compare because I also think Morning Star shares a lot of Return of the Jedi things too, but derivatively unique in its own way because Golden Sun is just a fucking action ass book that has
Yeah.
a crazy ending of just like the bad guys winning, and it's like holy fuck.
Yeah.
um what a balanced book. I love this book. I don't know. I feel like 10. I don't know. It's at least a 9. I'd
It's
have to think
so
about.
hard to say
I
what
think when
is
I
a
finished it, I was
10.
like, that's a 10.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's like
hard to say what is a 10, right?
it's a 10 on a
Because
certain grading scale.
every book is different, and
Mm-hmm.
writing styles are different. And I just read a book
Mm-hmm.
that I would say is a 10, and I said to you on the phone today, every book I'll read otherwise is absolute
Mm-hmm.
garbage, waste of
Mm.
trash. But that's not
Yeah.
true. They're
No,
just
it's not true.
so for me, it's more of
Different.
how did you feel when you finished it, when you were reading it? And if you felt like you were into it and attached to it and loved it, that for me has to be a 9 or a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
think?
That it at least has to be a 9. Yeah. There's not a lot of books
Yeah.
that I read, especially these ones that I pound out in like a week. If I'm pounding it out in a week, it's probably a 9 in my mind. Like at least
Right.
it's got to be that good to keep me like waking up at like 4 in the morning and be like, I'll get an extra hour into like see what the fuck we're about to do. I woke up at 9 o'clock to read the fucking Rain,
the Iron Ring is the
Iron,
shit, though.
yeah, which we'll get to. But like, okay, so this book, things I loved about the whole thing. Like I said, it starts off without you really, like, you know how the last book ended. You know that he's been living under this fucking Augustus guy now, but you don't really know the dynamics yet because, oh, yep, this is another spoiler-free thing that I can say, I guess. You don't know the dynamics a lot of, like, there's a lot of time gaps where, like, there's new characters introduced off screen like this, and it finds the time to, like, really fill you in on the gaps and really get to understand these characters really quick, who they are as characters. Really appreciated that. That being said, you know, you get the whole opening scene. They're doing like a battle at the academy. They lose Tarz's name. And like within like the first 100 pages, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to go to this like auction thing, this meeting of all the people in the society. And we're going to sell you. We don't want you anymore. I'm just like, holy fuck. So right off the gate, I was like, what the fuck is this about? And then we got to go to the underground area to meet the Jackal and like join his crew, who's actually, you know, being bombed by the Sons of Ares, and that crew's back. And it's just like a lot of shit is going on at the beginning of this book. And I was all there for it. It was so good. Yeah. What are you thinking? Just waiting.
I'm trying to remember this. I read, it's so hard to remember most of this book because I read it in maybe 2 days. Like maybe
it's a crazy start. It's a crazy
I think you made a good point
start.
I think you made a good point about so for me, when I think of a book being really fast paced, which these are, right? I still think there's good character development. And you learn about these characters and you care about these characters, even though they're fast paced. And that sometimes doesn't always occur.
I am more forgiving of scenes. Like there is a specific scene that I want to talk about at the end of this last book where it seemed like we were about to go to another battle and it just kind of skipped. It was just like, yeah, we dealt with that. And I was like, I'm more forgiving of moments like that because I really wasn't invested in for the big battle. I was invested in
for the characters
and how their relationships are going and like shit like that. And those relationships are constantly bobbling throughout all of them. Like the second book is so you're balls deep into it. Darrow's been undercover for years. So you're in the heat of like he's invading this society and eventually these people have to find out who he is. And he's got friends, he's got people that he knows, he's got all these relationships. You're in the head of a double agent who doesn't even really know what he's doing. The whole beginning of the book. And he still like always finds a way to get through it. And he's always learning the best lesson to be the best like leader or guy to follow. And you see that in this book. Empire Strikes Back. You slowly see Luke become the Jedi.
Yeah, he grows significantly in this book from the first book.
And you believe it because there's been a time jump too. You're like, he was already epic.
You know, without spoilers for the third book, you know, everything he does in the third book is more believable because of the second book. You know, if he took on the roles he did in the third book after coming from the first book, you wouldn't believe it quite as much, right?
No.
But the growing in the second book
is so important, and it's so fucking awesome throughout it. I'll tell you what,
it's definitely fucking awesome.
I'm gonna try to like follow my feelings like through as the story went, but nothing was more sick than like, you know, all of this is kind of happening. He's gonna like fucking blow himself up at this fucking auction of people and kill himself and everybody, I assume was what the plan was going to be. And I was just like, how's he going to get out of this? And he like cooks up a plan, but he goes in there. It's this epic scene where he's like smashing up the table, making a big scene, pointing out the Bologna family, Cassius, who's dating Mustang. And it's like, there's so many times where things happen that you're like, I don't believe this would happen. And the writer rewards you by being like, you're right to think that. There's a reason this is happening. It's not because of what you think. And it's like, yes, but I digress. He walks up in there, challenges Cassius, And the whole time, it's telling you, you've been hearing since the first book, this dickhead, Darrow, he doesn't know how to use the razor. He's not good with it. And even this far into the book, you're like, he's not good with it. And within a couple of sentences, you are basically told as a battle starts, oh, actually, the past 4 years, Darrow's been training with like the greatest swordsman in the razor that's ever lived. And he's
Yeah.
actually one of his best students. And you're like, oh, and he's just a badass at it. Oh, I loved that so much. So
It's so
much.
good.
Because in the first book, he has moments like that and he almost like gets beat. He like, you know what I mean? Like he gets, it doesn't go the way he thinks at first. But in this scenario, he was just like, let's fucking rip. I can't let these people sell me. I gotta let this plan happen. Also at this point in time, oh, what they, man, the Roke storyline is what a wild storyline, man. And we'll get through all that. But like, there was a point in the middle of this book, I wanted to text you, and how stupid it would have sounded from my end to be like, yo, Roke's the coolest bro that ever lived. Like, what a bro this guy
But
is.
he
Like,
is. That's why it's so good of what happens,
it's
right?
devastating. Yeah,
but that's why
and
it's
like,
so good.
it makes sense. But like, he tranquilizes Roke to save him. But like, and he comes up, like, even as I was reading like his plan, I was like, okay, I could see why he would like, he could convince Roke that like it was because he loves him and he didn't want him to be a part of like what he was making. But the way the characters find out about everybody's shit by the end of the book is just like, holy fucking God.
It is
And they don't even really
it is a
tell you.
good fucking book. It's an exciting book.
It is
right?
exciting. It is exciting. It could be a Game of Thrones level of like television show because
I
like
told
just
you,
like with
I
Game of
think
Thrones, it's the character interactions that you love, and then you get some sort of cool action with that.
I told you when you were reading the first book and afterwards that I think it would be an incredible television show.
It would be an incredible television.
And they're working on it apparently. So
there's so many things that happen in this second book that not just action wise I need to see, but just like scene to scene moments between characters I need to see.
Right.
Severo is dude, when Severo makes his return in this book, because he's not in it till like the middle, and he comes in and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I met up with Ares on my way here, and I'm your boy, dude. Like we're working together. We're in the same club. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Of course, like, because you already love him, so like you're like, fuck yeah. And you don't even like, you think in your head, you're like, how did he wind up with Ares? You know what I mean? There's so many moments throughout this book, not even things, just not even that in particular, but things like that where you're like, why would that happen? Like you doubt why people would act a certain way. And later on, it's like, well, here's why. And you're like, oh, that's so good. Like I did not see Fitchner being Ares coming.
Me either.
At all, dude. Like
me either.
I had a feeling Fitchner was like gonna, betray. Like I knew like he couldn't possibly be working for
something.
this bitch. But when he said he was Ares, I was like, you've got to be fucking joking me, right? And then it all made sense. I was like, and he's, yep, Ares, his dad. Oh my God, of course. Holy shit.
Perfect.
It's so good.
It makes sense, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. So everything Severo's doing throughout that book is fucking awesome. I fucking loved that scene when they shot themselves onto that other ship because they were on the dying one.
So good, dude. Yes.
I was so impressed with that. That was such a badass. A lot of this also made me think of like different Star Wars failures, I think, in some Star Wars movies that are failures, where this book did that story just better. There's a lot of Star Wars in both of these. But when they crashed into there to like get onto that ship the way they did, it made me think of Anakin and Obi-Wan like crash landing on Grievous's ship in episode 3. And it's kind of like that, but it's just it's a more epic scene even. Like, because you're scared.
Could you imagine if
they're
they
shooting
did on
themselves
television?
through space? Oh, I'd love to see it, dude.
And I like the vulnerability. I told you this on the phone, like the vulnerability of that moment, right? Where Darrow is so confident that this is the moment where he's like, I don't know.
He does some crazy shit. I'll give it to. That's also what makes him still Vegeta. He's like a Vegeta that had really good character development, like really good character development.
Right.
because he's just such a badass motherfucker with a soul and a heart, and the need to learn, the need to learn to be better. And god damn if you don't see it all throughout that I mean, he basically just shit stomps through everybody in that second book until he loses
Yeah.
at the end. But like, you're
Right.
pumped to see him shit stomp because like it wasn't easy to make the decisions, or it's like the way he came up with strategies are like insane, and everybody's acting weird. You're trying to see if you trust Victra the whole time, who, another character I love. Victra's fucking awesome.
Victor rocks.
What a fun time getting to know her.
I'd say she gets
but
better too.
but there's like they're juggling how you should feel about all of these relationships and all these characters the whole time, because you're like, ooh, do I trust the jackal? Do I not trust it? Is he actually cool? Maybe he's not cool. And you feel that way about everybody all the time, other than when Severo says, I'm your boy. You're like, okay, Severo's his boy, but
That's
like
the one guy that you
anything
can
could
hold
happen.
on to. Right.
My god, when he tells Ragnar, okay, we got this character Ragnar who's fucking awesome too. He's an Obsidian who is just like, they crashed on that fucking ship and took it, and he's like, you know what, I'm with you guys now. And not only was he like that, but like Darrow just trusts him with his life secret, and you're like, oh my god, this is kind of crazy to be like, I'm actually a
Bold
red and I'm
decision.
infiltrating. And this guy is just like, yeah, I'm all about this. Let's fucking roll. The way Darrow builds his relationships, I find to be very believable, and I love it.
Yeah, like, it makes sense that everybody is against the current system, right? Because they're all getting stomped down by it, so it makes sense that it's never a point where you disbelieve, yes, that everybody is on the same page as him, and it's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I'm just like, there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of to and fro. Not as much as there is in the third book, but I mean, there's always something happening. I feel like there was no. I couldn't believe how much book
They're
was still left
fast-paced.
after like the big battle had ended. I was like, oh wow, what could still possibly happen? It really felt like we were gonna have like a good, clean going to the next,
Nope.
level with
Nope.
this story chapter, and then it just fucking ends on like basically a red wedding type of situation, and you're just like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. And you think you're missing things the whole time. You're like, what?
That part of the end of the second book is so good that I remember where I was when I was reading it.
I think I will too. I think I will too. It was beautiful day out. Happy Pennsylvania. Yeah, it was
just good.
I was already into the book. I was already like, this is fucking awesome. And then that ending happened, and they capped the dad. They fucking they talk about the box, and you almost forget about the box. You're like, oh, they looked into a box, and then all this crazy shit started happening, and you're like, oh, and then they come back to the box, and you're like, what's in the box? And it's fucking Fitchner's head, and you're just like, we just found out he was Ares, for Christ's sake.
I thought he was gonna be really involved.
Oh my god.
But it makes sense that they took him out so that Darrow could be the, more leadership role. I mean, it makes sense, but at the time you're like, oh, yeah.
It was insane, dude. I finished that book and I was just like, I called you. I was like, wow, that was not what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a
overall
good time.
A great time, a good book that people generally love.
Not huge, like I think it was.
It's such a quick read.
Something pages, yeah. So they pound a lot of. It's a very Empire Strikes Back. I have to give it Empire Strikes Back, just of its own franchise. Just, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I feel like I've forgotten a lot of things I did want to keep talking about, but like, it's just a balls to the wall space action
nonstop book. It feels like there's not a and again, this can be a bad thing at times for certain books, but it's just nonstop that even the scenes that aren't action feel like action. Everything is just
exactly.
It's just go, 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 go. So a great book. I just can't say that enough about that book.